everybody, welcome to RudolphStone.com. I'm your host Rudolph, and today we're going to be covering a lot of great stuff in Microsoft Excel 2013. Things like pivot tables, Gantt charts, histograms, basic functions, and some formulas. So grab a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage, kick your feet up, and enjoy the show.
Alright everyone, we're in Microsoft Excel and we're going to start out with some basic functions. Okay, we're going to do some basic functions really quick, then we're going to move on to formulas, pivot tables, Gantt chart, and histogram. Okay, alright, so let's jump right in and do some addition. Okay, so how are we going to add 1000 plus 76? Well, I'm going to show you how. What some new users like to do is they like to hit their equal sign, okay, and do it longhand. So 1000 plus 76, okay. And although you get the right answer, it's really not efficient, okay. So I'm going to show you a really short way to do that. First thing you want to do is you're going to want to go to your cell B5, okay, that's right here, and hit your addition sign, and then go to C5 right here and hit your enter sign. Boom, you're done. Now wasn't that easy? Give yourself a round of applause. Alright, so you're going to do the same thing for subtraction. Just going to come here, hit your equal sign, click on your cell B8, okay, hit your minus sign, then C8, okay, hit enter, boom, done. Don't you like that? Same thing right here. Oop, got a little bit ahead of ourselves, didn't we? Don't forget your equal sign, very easy to do. Okay, then you're going to hit your 100, which is B11, and this is what you're going to do right here. You're going to hold down your shift key, and then you're going to hit your asterisk, which is your 8 on your keyboard. Okay, alright, number 8. Then you're going to come over here to 100, which is C11. You're going to hit enter, and boom. Alright, same thing for division. Alright, equal sign, this is B14, and you're going to hold your well, don't have to hold shift on that, just hit your button that looks like the little question mark. You don't have to hold shift for that. Then hit your C14 and enter. Okay, so that's how you do addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay, now this is a little, I guess you could say, a little project that I've created down here, and it goes something like this. Alright, so you have Ashley, Bill, George, John, Chris, Mary, Jordan, da 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 da, and these people all seen an ad all over the city, and this ad was stating that, you know, hey, if you give us a donation, we'll give you a free t-shirt and we'll enter you into a drawing, and da 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 da. Basically how donations, some donations go. Okay, or you could just donate and just give us your money. So let's say that they pulled out their credit card and or their debit card or whatever, and they sent their funds via internet, okay, using their debit card or credit card, and you receive all this data and this information, and you want to organize it from largest donor to largest to smallest. So how do you do that? You know, you could just look through here and then click a cell and they say, okay, $5 right here, and you know, go one by one, but that's not efficient. So this is how you're going to do that. You're going to click on your first cell right here, and you're going to hold your mouse down, your mouse key, your what is this, your left clicker, and you're going to hold it down, you're going to drag it, okay, Then you're going to come to sort and filter. All right. Now, if we wanted to do the smallest to the largest, okay, going from $5, which is the smallest one right here, $5 all the way down to the largest amount, we would hit the smallest. Okay, so let's do that. Let's hit sort, and it gives us everyone from largest to smallest who donated. And something I like to do, say donation. Sort of really particular with this. I like things that look pretty nice and neat. Okay. All right. Donations. Now, doesn't that look cool? All right. So that is how you do addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and how you do some sorting. Okay, this sorting filter really comes in handy. Okay, especially when you have large volumes of data. Let's say, for example, you wanted to know the whole sum. You wanted to add all these numbers up, but you didn't want to do it one by one. So what do? Okay, you're going to do the same thing. You're gonna left click. You're gonna hold it all the way down to here, and then you're gonna come over to your formulas. All right. Then come to auto sum. Hit sum, and boom. See that? Easy peasy. This will be your grand total. Okay. Isn't that cool? Just so you can see that. All right. So we went over sorting, how to get your grand total, which is your sum, and addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. All right. Now let's move over to some formulas. All right, everyone. Let's dive into some formulas and start out with our average. Okay. If we want to figure out the average of these numbers, these were the numbers that I took from the donations example that I did on the last video example with the basic functions. Okay, so if we wanted to figure out the average of all those numbers of the donations that we got, we'll do it like this. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do is go to your auto sum, scroll down to average. Then it will give you this average, and then in brackets it will highlight all the cells that you want the average of. Then you will click your enter key or button, and there you go. This is your average. All right, let's make that bigger so you can see that. All right, not that big. Center that. All right, okay. Let's make that going across. Hopefully it'll pick up. If it doesn't pick up, I'll correct that. Okay, now your max is your largest number in your data. Okay, so we can see right here that it's 10,007. Okay, but let's say, for example, you had 1,000,000 rows and columns, you know, just a whole bunch of data going everywhere. All right, wouldn't be so easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. Come to formulas and auto sum, scroll down to max. It's going to highlight our cells for us that we're trying to find the maximum value for, or the maximum number, the largest number in our data in this column, and that is 10,007, as we see right here. Okay. Alrighty, I'm gonna scoot this all over at the end. I like to be really nice and neat, so it's really easy on the eyes. Your minimum, which is your smallest number in your data. Okay, we're gonna go to, let's see, we already got our formulas tab open. Auto sum and minimum highlights the cells right here. Hit enter. It shows us, as you can see right here, our smallest number is 5, and that is correct. Okay. your standard deviation, that's what this stand-dev stands for. Your standard deviation is basically, it shows you how spread out your numbers are. That's sort of like the layman terms definition. Okay, basically how spread out your numbers are. And the way you find that is, let me do this. The way you do that is you will come here, go to formulas, more functions, or you could hit the insert right there. Standard D. Make sure you hit the E7, look over E7 to E16. Is that what they have? Yeah, that's what they got. All right, there you go. And this is your standard deviation of this data right here. Okay. The decimals really go out far, so if you really want to clean that up, make that look a little bit more less hard on the eyes, if you will. You come up here to your decimal, and that'll get you probably to like the cents. Like, get you down to the cent sign. It's more easier to look at, you know. This right here is your number count. Now what I did is I took the liberty to actually count this out so you could see it. That way you want it to be like, okay, 1 2 3 4 5, you know. You can see there's 10 rows right here. Okay, and that's basically what it counts. But if you had like a million rows, as I mentioned before, and you wouldn't know, or you didn't feel like scrolling all the way to the bottom, you can go to your number count function, formula function right here, and click at the bottom, go to your formulas, okay, and hit count. And it counts F7 through F16, hit your OK, and as you can see, as I put right here, we have 10 pieces of data. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, and as you guys know what I like to do, sorry to annoy you guys, but I like everything to be nice and neat. All right, easy on the eyes. All right, so let's say you had a boss, right, and you have these numbers, and he wants, you know, you really want to be easy on the eyes. I'm really big on making things easy for the eyes, for the user or the reader to for reading purposes, you know. So if I want to turn this into currency, because it just shows straight numbers, if I want to turn this to currency, I will come to here, right where you see your dollar sign, and you could pick whatever country that you're in and choose whatever currency that you want or you use. We're in the United States right now, so I'm going to choose the dollar sign English United States, and it turns all my numbers into currency. Okay, and I just did that because in our last example with the basic functions, we were doing donations. Okay, if you wasn't, or you weren't doing currency, you don't have to do that, so you can just undo it. Hit your undo button right here. But if you like currency and money like the rest of us, you can that's how you would do that. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some pivot tables. Oh yeah, if you got through this, give yourself a round of applause. All right, now let's take a look at some pivot tables. All right everyone, we're going to jump into some pivot tables, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun. Okay, so let's say for example that I had a really wealthy investor come to me and say, hey Rudolph, I have a lot of businesses at different locations, and let's say he has a store or a mall called Fort Grand Mall. He has Waterboat Men's store, Big Chuck store, and Rudolph's company store, you know, a franchise I probably sold to him years ago or something like that. I don't know, but different locations, different stores at different locations in different regions. Okay, your south, north, and east. Okay, and let's say for example he wanted to know these three things: which store in each of these regions are most profitable. So he wants to know which store, which mall, like in this section right here, which mall is the most profitable in the South region. Okay. We'll see some stores right here as well. See in the South. Yeah. So which one of these malls and stores are the most profitable in the South region, and so on, the North and the East. Okay. And let's say he wanted to also know the year-to-date revenue on all these stores and the mall. Okay. And thirdly, he wants to know the growth percentage. How much revenue has his stores and malls grown or declined from year 1 to year 2 financially? Okay. So those three things, excuse me, those three things he wants to know. And it would be a pure nightmare if I had to just look at this data and say, okay, let's see, which one is the most profitable, da 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 da. It'd be all day, probably take hours. Okay. So this is how we're going to figure out these three things to make his business more profitable. All right. We're going to have to do some data mining, and data mining is basically when you take out useful information that will help you accomplish the task that you're looking for or looking to accomplish. Okay. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a pivot table. All right. This leads us to pivot tables. So we're going to highlight, we're going to right click and hold it down on your mouse, highlight this whole section right here, south all the way down to right here. And we're going to click insert, pivot table, and you're going to want this on a new sheet. Okay. See, this is already highlighted. Let's hit OK. All right. So Mr. Finkelstein, or the investor, is his name. He wants to know the region in which things are most profitable. Location. Okay. So we see that this is our region. This is our locations, store locations. And the customer representative, that's not relevant. The customer, for example, the ID number right here, that's not relevant. The customer, the person at the cash register or whatever, that's not relevant. Okay. So that's basically what data mining is. It's almost like if you go to a mountain, you're not going to pick up big chunks of rock and then deliver it to the not the grocery store, but the jeweler, and say, hey, there's some diamonds in here if you just chip them out. No, you're going to chip them out. You're going to make sure everything is sorted, neat, well cut, and then you're going to deliver it, for profit. So that's basically what we're doing here. Okay. We're taking out the relevant information and the relevant material. So we don't need the sales rep, we don't need the customer, but we do need the city. Okay. So I'm going to drop that down as well. So we have the city, we have the location, and we have the region right here. Okay. Alrighty. So the next thing we're going to do is we need the values. Okay. So we're going to take financial year 1. All right. And financial year 2. Okay. All right. So we have that. So the next thing we need to do is take a look at these financial years and correct them. It says sum of financial year 1. Let's correct this and let this say financial year. Okay. Scoot that over a little bit. Alright. Says it already exists. For the sake of time, we're just gonna try to get that. Year 2. Hit enter. Alright. Okay. So these don't have dollar signs. Okay. So if we had to put dollar signs or currency signs in front of them, we would come here to number format, hit currency, and there you go. Boom. Let's also do that for, let's see, okay. Let's also do that for financial year 2. Currency. Okay, all right. Now we're cooking with gasoline. We're looking good. Okay. Now, as you can see right here, the best way to figure out which store out of all the big chucks, okay, all the new Founders shirt stores and all the Rudolph's computer stores, okay, we need to figure out which one from greatest to least is most profitable. And the best way to figure this out is to come right here to your location and your cities and sort out the greatest amount that you have in your financial year 2, because your financial year 2 is the most recent. You always want your most recent information, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to come here, right click, and we're going to go to sort, more sort options, descending. You see how this says Z to A by financial year 2, okay? I'm going to click OK. And as you can see right here in financial year 2, it tells us the sum of all the locations, okay? So as you can see right here, financial year 2, let's see if we done, boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's go back for a second, make sure we got this. Let's come to city. Let's come to city right here. City, we're going to do the same thing for city as well. It's not giving me the information that I want rendered. Okay, city, financial year 2, okay. Okay, there we go. So, if you take a look at, in the east, the big chucks in the east, okay, gauging from financial year 2, 7,659,735, okay. All the big chucks in Killeen, Texas, for example, from greatest to least. You have in Killeen, you have 4 million. That's his best store in Killeen. His second best is in Bowling Green, Kentucky, which is at 1 million, and his 1,771,000. Da 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 da. His second best, or his third best, is in Nashville, Tennessee, which would be 1,444,000. 1,144,000. Yeah. Okay. So, but if you take a look at the east, this is the grand total for the east. All right. So this is new Founders Store, Rudolph's, and Big Chuck. That's the grand total altogether for the east. Okay. So that's the grand total for the north as well. Big Chuck's, Waterboat. So that's your grand total for the north right there. Okay. Well, right here, going across, boom, 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 right there. This is for financial year 1 of Waterboat Men store, and that's financial year 1, financial year 2. Okay. So now we have it sorted. So now he would know if he took a look at that. Let's say, for example, we have to close all the. If he didn't want it to look all jumbled, and we want to make it look nice and neat. We take a look at financial year 1 and 2, and let's say he wanted to know, okay, in the east, Big Chuck, he could just take a look at that, and he wouldn't have to look at north and south if he didn't want to. You can open that up and see the north. You know, it makes it more interactive. You know, interactive. All right, so let's open these all up again, and go to, we have the year to date. Okay, he wants to know the year to date. All right, everyone, let's take a look at how to do a year to date revenue statement. We're going to go to the year to date revenue. The investor wanted to know the year to date revenue, so we're going to go to our pivot table. We're going to highlight inside of the pivot table. All right, and then we're going to go to analyze and fields, items, and set. Gonna go calculated field, and let's name this year to date revenue. Okay, have a lot of capitals in there, don't I? All right, and the way we're going to figure out the year-to-date revenue is we're going to say financial year 1 plus financial year 2. Okay, I'm going to add that together and say okay, and that is going to give us our, hold on, let's click on here, it says sum. Let's make this look neat. Hit okay. All right, now this is our year-to-date revenue. This is financial year 1 plus financial year 2, and that is how you find the year-to-date revenue. All right, pretty sure he'll be pleased to see that. Okay, let's see. Well, you know me, I like to make sure everything looks nice. All right, center. Okay, so the final thing he wanted to know is the growth percentage. All right, so we're going to do the same thing here. He wants to know how much his businesses have grown from year to year, you know, from year 1 to year 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and into our pivot table, and we're going to go to analyze once more. Okay, and we're going to go to, see, where are we, fields and items, fields, items, and set, calculated field. Then we're going to say, see, growth percent. Okay, and then we're going to say, make sure you put your parentheses, and we're going to do financial year 2, insert, and we're going to minus that from financial year 1. All right, come on, financial year 1. All right, parentheses. Okay, and you're going to divide that by financial year 1. Okay, then you're going to hit add, then okay, and that's going to give you your financial year 1. Let's correct this, by the way. Let's double click on that, take away some percentage, and we're going to want to do another thing as well. If you take a look at this, it has dollar signs. Okay, we need the growth percentage. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to come here to number format, and we're going to click on percentage. Okay, then okay again. Okay, it says pivot table name already exists. All right, let's just scoot that close together to full Excel, I guess. All right, so here we have it, folks. This is his growth percentage. All right, this is how much it's grown from year 2 to year 1 to year 2. Okay, so now he knows where he needs to put his profits to increase what store or what mall. He knows how much his year-to-date revenue is, and he knows which store is more profitable. He can see the differentiation, you know, between what store is more profitable and what store is least profitable. All right, this could not only help Mr. Finkelstein, this could help you as well. So I hope that you have enjoyed pivot tables, and now we're going to take a look at some histograms. All right, see you on the other side. All right, everyone, welcome. We're going to jump into some histograms, so let's get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to have to cover this section first before we can start over here. Okay, we need to know how many number of phone calls handled by call center employees that we're getting per day. Okay, so the only way, well, one way we could figure that out, instead of scrolling down and counting each one of these, okay, is we can have Excel do it for us. Okay, and then one way we're going to do that is we're going to highlight this cell right here, which is K4. Okay, we're going to hit equal, and then we're going to use our count function that we learned as a basic function. So we're going to type in count. Okay, and then we're going to hit our parentheses, and an easier way to do this, instead of scrolling all the way down and highlighting everything, is we can click on our first cell, okay, with our first number, and hold down Control Shift and your down arrow, okay. That will highlight everything for you, easy peasy, okay. And then we're going to hold Shift and hit 0, which is our parentheses, okay, and then we're going to hit enter, and it shows us that we have 48 pieces of data, okay. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out our lowest value, or our lowest number in this piece of data. So we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to highlight this cell right here, hit equal, and then we're going to type in min, okay, this for the minimum. Going to hit parentheses, and we're going to do the same thing. Going to hold down Control Shift down arrow, all right. Then we're going to parentheses right here to close it in, and hit enter, and it tells us that our lowest value in this whole data set is 5, okay. Now we're going to go and we're going to do the maximum number, or the highest, the largest sum, or the largest number in our data set, and we are going to figure that out by typing in max, and we're going to do the same thing, Control Shift down arrow on your keyboard, parentheses, and enter, and it lets us know that our largest value, or our largest number in this data set, is 98, okay. The way you figure out your range is you're going to take your largest number in your data set and subtract it from your largest, so your lowest number, and you're going to subtract it from your largest number, okay. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to take our smallest number and subtract it from our largest number, okay, and that gives us our range, okay. Probably should have did that the other way around, give us a positive number, okay. Let's do that again, see if we can make that better. Let's subtract it from our, whoop, got ahead of ourselves. Excuse me for a second. So we know that was 5, so we're just gonna go ahead with that. Let's do our, whoop, all over the place. Okay, so we're gonna do our largest, gonna minus that from our, okay, that looks better, okay. So we know our count, our minimum count, our maximum count, and our range. We know our lowest number, highest number. Okay, that matters because we need to make bins, or categories. These are the categories, okay. So we may have 3 days, we might have 3 calls, and we may receive 3 calls on day 1, okay. We need to put that somewhere, all right. So this is the category. So if we had 3 calls on day 1, we would put it in this bin right here. Now, as a rule of thumb, when you're dealing with bins, you don't want to, let's say you receive 5 calls on day 1, right? You're not going to put that 5 calls in this bin. As a rule, you only want to put calls 0 to 4 in that bin right there, okay. That's as a rule. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in our number 4 right here. This is going to represent the highest, or the upper bound bin. This is the highest number of volume of calls that we're going to receive, that we're going to put into this bin, okay. Then we're going to come right here, type in 9. So let's drag this down. Okay, so if we receive anywhere from 0 to 4 calls, we're going to put it in this bin. If we receive anywhere from 0 to 9 calls, we're going to put it in this bin. So basically, if we receive 10 calls, we're not going to put it in this bin. We're going to put it in this bin, okay? So now we have that out of the way. We're going to move on to the next step, and we're going to make our histogram. This is the information that we need, our upper bound bin and our data information. This is what we're going to need to make our histogram, and we need this information over here so we'll know our lowest number in our data and our highest or our largest number in our data, okay, and how many numbers or pieces of data that we have. Okay, so let's jump right into it. If you do not have, you're going to need to click on your data tab and come to data analysis. If you don't see this in your Excel software, if you don't see this in your program, you can come to file and then come to options, go to add-ins, all right, and then highlight analysis toolpack, okay, and then go to OK, and it will appear right there. All right, okay. Once you have that in your Excel software, okay, you're gonna click on data analysis, and then you're gonna see histogram right here, histogram. I'm gonna click OK, and then we're going to highlight our data. Okay, so for our input range, we're going to click on our first cell in our data set, and we're going to hold down Control Shift down. Okay, down arrow, excuse me, tongue tied. Control Shift and your down arrow, okay, select that all at once, and then we're going to come to the bin range, and we're going to select this data set right here. Okay, Control Shift down arrow, and it selects it all at once. And once we have those two pieces of two data sets selected, we're going to come to a new worksheet. We're going to make sure this is on a new worksheet. We don't want this on the same worksheet, and we also want to make sure that we have the chart output. Okay, make sure that's checked, because if you don't, you will get a frequency chart, and you don't want just a frequency chart. Okay, now we're going to hit OK, and there you have it. There's your histogram. Okay, we need to make this look a little bit more better. So what we're going to do is this right here is going to be our number of days. Okay, so we're going to click on that. We're going to change that to our number of days. Okay, so this is the number of days that we receive calls. Okay, hit enter. So our number of days, and this right here will be our call volume. All right, so we're going to correct that as well. This is our call volume. All right, and we're going to call our chart. Oh, let's go back. Going to rename our chart calls. Let's see, what should we name it? Calls handled by call center, maybe something like that. Calls handled by call center. Yeah, it's a pretty good title. Yeah. As you can see right here, our data sheet, or our data at the bottom, isn't quite correct. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on the inside of our chart. Okay, and we're going to come to select data, and we're going to come to edit, go to edit, then we're going to go back to our sheet 1, and we're going to select our bin right here. Okay, we're going to hit OK, click OK right here, and that's going to give us our bins. This is the correct bin. So we have, for example, 8 days to where we're receiving 10 to 9 calls. Okay, remember the rule. We're not going to put, if we receive 10 calls, we're not going to put that in this bin. We're going to put that in this bin right here. Okay, let's make this look a little bit more better, because it's It's divided, but it could look a little bit more better, a little pleasing to the eye. Okay, so let's stretch this out a little bit. Let's make this look a little bit more bigger, these bars. So we're going to right click on our mouse, going to come to format chart area. Okay, I'll click on one of the bars. Alright, then say solid line, then make that black. Okay, gonna hit enter, and we're also gonna come to series options. Okay, click on that, and then the gap width, let's make that 0. Okay, and now we are done. Okay, doesn't that look a lot better? Doesn't it look great? So we have calls handled by call center. We could take a look at it, and if we have a business and we want to know if we want to cut down on the phone bill, or we want to know what a employee's doing, or we want to up a goal and receive more calls or get more queries from customers, and complete more queries from customers per day, we'll know exactly what the employees are doing, and let them know what they need to improve on. So again, as you can see right here, we have 10 days where we're receiving 5 to 9 calls, not 5 to 10 calls, 5 to 9 calls. And if we was receiving 5 to 10 calls, we would put it in this bin, 10 calls per day. Okay, we have 6 days to where we're receiving let's say, for example, 20 calls. Okay, this is our volume right here. So that is how you do histograms. I hope this will really help you out in your business or class or whatever you need histograms for. And if you followed and didn't have any problems, give yourself a round of applause. Now we're going to go on to Gantt charts. All right, see you on the other side. All right, everyone, let's take a look at some Gantt charts. All right, a Gantt chart is basically a breakdown of an entire project. Okay, for example, if you take a look right here of the scenario that I've came up with concerning my app company, I've created a little scenario to where I own an app company, and it takes my graphic designers 10 days to actually complete the graphics on my app. Okay, altogether it would take 44 days. As you can see right here, I'll add all these days up for you so you can see that with my auto sum function. It'll take 44 days per app that my company creates. Okay, this is hypothetical, or this is little business I created. Okay, all right, so let's say, for example, I wanted to shorten the days, or I just in general wanted to know how long each task took, and I want to see it graphically. Okay, or I want to share it or email it or show it in a presentation to my employees. Okay, to show each task for the entire project. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do that using a Gantt chart. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to come to insert. Okay, then we're going to go to our bar charts. I'm going to go to bar chart, stacked bar. It's the second one in your 2D bar. Okay, it's going to be blank. So what you're going to do is you're going to come to select data. Okay, and click on that. That'll be up under your design tab. And what we're going to do is we're going to, up under your legend entries series, going to click on add. All right, and we're going to name this start date. Okay, make sure you erase this or you will get an error. Okay, I'm going to highlight everything under our start date. All right, click OK. Then we're going to make another entry, so click add again, and we're going to call this duration, put this in parentheses, days. Okay, and erase that and highlight everything under duration of days. All right, then click OK and OK again. And here is our Gantt chart, but it's not quite finished. Okay, let's undo that. Okay, move that a little bit. All right, as you can see right here on our vertical axis, we have 1 through 9, and to top that off, it's in reverse order. So let's fix that. We're going to right click on our vertical axis. Okay. Then we're going to select data. All right. Going to go to select data. Click on start date. All right. Then come to horizontal category access labels. Click on edit. And we are going to highlight everything under the start date. Okay. No. Sorry. Everything under the task. All right. So highlight everything under task. All right. Then we're going to hit enter. And voila. As you see right there, everything appeared. Okay. I'm going to hit OK. But as you can see, it's in reverse order, as we mentioned before. So we're going to have to format that. So we're going to come to the same vertical axis again, and we're going to right click and go to format axis. All right, should be popping out here in a second. All right, there you are. And come to categories in reverse order. Okay, check mark that. And as you can see, planning course, instructional design, storyboard prep, this all, it has the same order as we have over here. Now we are cooking with gasoline. Okay, we are doing good. All right, now this looks great, but it's not quite finished. Okay, as you can see, Excel has given us too many dates. This is to extend it. We started in January 5th, and here we are in December 7th. It's giving us too much time. So let's correct that. Okay, we're going to right click on our horizontal axis. This is our horizontal axis. Okay, and we are going to select our data. Well, before we do, I want to show you something. We're going to come to January 5th. Okay, before we do that, okay, come to January 5th. All right, and we are going to see the code. See, Access has codes for each date. So January 5th has a code. So we're going to come here to Format Cells, and we're going to click on General. And as you see, the code for January 5th in Access is 42009. Okay, 42009. Try to make that bigger for you guys, but I don't think it expands. 42009. Okay, so we're going to close that. We're not going to change anything, and we're going to remember 42009, and we're going to come to, I believe it's Format Access. That's right. And minimum. Let's come to our minimum. Erase this and put in 42009 as we've seen before. Okay, and then we're going to come to major. And the reason why we're changing this is because this is our number of days. There's 7 days in a week. All right, then we're going to click enter. All right, then we're going to close that out. And as you can see right here, we have January 5th, January 5th, March the 2nd. See, that looks better. See, our last day is February the 22nd. Okay, that's our end date. Doesn't that look a lot better? Doesn't give you your days are not too extended and far out. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to erase these start dates. So you don't need the start date, you just need the duration. We want to know how long each project is going to start. And if you prefer to keep the start date in there, you know, that's your own prerogative. But in our presentation, and for the most part, most companies, they delete their start date. Okay, so we're going to left click on the blue bar. Okay, and then we're going to right click. Then we're going to format data series. All right, then we're going to come to our little paint bucket right here and click no fill. Then we're going to come to border and no line. All right, going to X out of that, and as you can see right here, we have a finished Gantt chart. All right, right here you can see our graphic designs and our simulations take almost around the same amount of time, or the same amount of time. And let's say, for example, we wanted to say, okay, our storyboard, we could 10 days, let's try to fit that in there too, you know, to save on some time. Or maybe we want our instructional design to come out just a little bit further. We want a little bit more time for our instructional design. Some employees and some teammates or your teammates may want to see things graphically. It may resonate with them more graphically. So a Gantt chart is really handy when you're trying to get a point across in a presentation, or if you just need it for class. So thank you so much for sticking along with me, and if you've had a great time and you haven't had any trouble getting this information or this material down, give yourself a round of applause, and a pat on the back. And there you go. That is Gantt charts. All right, that's how you do a Gantt chart. Now we're going to move on to access in another video. Just click on another picture on rudolphstone.com on our little link, and thanks for listening.
Are you tired of searching through a mountain of resumes for a high-quality business and IT professional only to come up empty-handed? Well, your search stops here. Meet Rudolph Stone. He has 10 years of experience in the IT and business industry, not to forget his arsenal of skills. Rudolph not only brings a wealth of experience to the table, he also has a bachelor's degree in business informatics to make things all the more sweet. You can view videos of Rudolph in the video portfolio section of the site to see him performing his skills right before your eyes. So after taking a look at a professional like Rudolph, I'm sure you're just dying to see his full resume, right? Well, no problem. Just click on the Download Rudolph's Resume button to download his full resume and see all of his extensive experience and more. You can view it in infographic form or plain text. Want to contact Rudolph? Use the contact form at the bottom of the site, and he'll get back with you within 24 hours or less. So make the right choice. Hire Rudolph.